Well, good morning, everybody. Here we are again. I'm going to be very clear. Chuck Schumer wants a dirty deal. I'll say it again. Chuck Schumer wants a dirty deal. One that caters to his radical base. You know, the same crowd planning to protest at their I Hate America rally this weekend. And what is in this so-called deal? Let's take a look at what's in Chuck Schumer's dirty deal. And let me spell it out. It adds $1.5 trillion to our national debt. $1.5 trillion. It hands out health care to illegal immigrants. That's not a talking point. That's a fact. It guts the most historic investment Congress has ever made in rural health care. Again, that's a fact. And it weakens health care for hardworking Americans. Begin to see the compare and contrast. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats want to protect illegals and hurt Americans. Republicans, we actually want to do what we were elected to do, and that's take care of Americans. Yesterday, we released a new white paper on the facts, which are actually crystal clear. So we don't need to do political stunts and storm the speaker's office, and we just have the facts on our side. And notice, when you can't beat us on the facts, you have to go to emotion and you have to go to political stunts. And that's exactly what the Democrats are doing. First, the Democrats' proposal eliminates a cornerstone investment in rural health care, putting hospitals and small-time clinics deeper in financial debt. That's a $50 billion cut to rural America. Second, states like California have played games with federal tax dollars to give benefits to, you guessed it, not Americans, that's right, illegals. Republicans actually closed that loophole, saving taxpayers $190 billion. Again, note the compare and contrast. The Democrat bill would reopen that loophole, and don't let them deny it. Make them own their votes. Make them own their stance. Let me remind you, every single Democrat on the 2020 presidential debate stage raised their hand and said, taxpayers should pay for health care for illegals. Every single Democrat. So why are they denying it now? Because they know it's not popular with Americans, right? They are on the record wanting health care for illegals. Own it, Democrats. Say it loud. Say it proud. You want to put illegals over Americans. Just own it. I'm going to say it again. They are on the record wanting health care for illegals, and their dirty deal that they lay out in black and white. Finally, Democrats' plan forces taxpayers to cover the majority of emergency medical costs for all non-citizens. Another $28 billion tab for who? You guessed it, the American people. So here's the bottom line. The Democrats' proposal would force taxpayers to fund $119 billion in waste, fraud, and abuse. Yes, that's right. The Democrats advocate for waste, fraud, and abuse. Why? Because it's not their money, it's your hard-earned money, including benefits for people that are here illegally. That weakens health care for Americans. It also defunds rural health care. Again, that weakens health care for who? That's right, it weakens health care for Americans. It is absolutely outrageous. So here's my message to Democrats. Tell all of your radical base you're done taking orders. Tell them you're putting America first. Drop the demands, reopen the government, pass the House bill, and let's get back to work for the American people. Thank you.
All right, a few questions. Yes.
A judge in Florida issued a ruling against Corey Mills for threatening and harassing behavior from an ex-girlfriend. And according to these court documents, he also instructed a congressional staffer to reach out to her after that initial temporary restraining order was filed. Do you think this is an ethical violation, and do you think any disciplinary action is warranted?
I have not heard or looked into any of the details of that. I've been a little busy. We have a House Ethics Committee. If it warrants that, I'm sure they'll look into that. Yeah.
It's been reported for a while. Corey Mills was accused of beating a girlfriend in his D.C. apartment. He was accused of stolen valor by the people that he claimed to have saved on the battlefield that then on the record said that he did not save them. I mean, this has been happening since the beginning of the year. Are you concerned about these allegations against Corey Mills?
Look, you have to ask Representative Mills about that. I mean, he's been a faithful colleague here. I know his work on the Hill. I mean, I don't know all the details of all the individual allegations and what he's doing in his outside life. You have to ask him about that. Let's talk about things that are really serious. Back row. Go ahead, Scott. Yeah.
OMB put out a memo saying that they're going to batten down the hatches and ride out the shutdown. But, as you pointed out, they're going to pay the troops, as well as they said pay law enforcement. Should law enforcement include Capitol Police, who protect you, your family, you know, Mr. Scalise, the whip, as well as the Capitol building in general?
Yeah, we've always stood with Capitol Police and law enforcement, and we've shown that in word and deed. And I can tell you that I was with the president for a couple of hours in the Oval Office last night. I spoke with Russ Vought in the Rose Garden before the Charlie Kirk service. They are, what's the right word, forlorn about this. No one on the Republican side is taking any pleasure in this scenario. Yes, we're always for reducing the size and scope of the government and all of that, but this is not the way to go about it. We don't shut the government down, turn off the funding streams, and then require all these cuts like this. So what they're doing is they're having to triage federal spending, as you know, because anybody, as we've said, any person who's in the White House, regardless of party, and their director of OMB, is given this unfortunate reluctant task. They have to figure out and triage what are the most essential services personnel policies and what are not. They're going to look at that through a partisan lens, but when they look through it through that lens, I mean, we're looking at it right now as conservative Republicans, the White House, that's who serves in the White House right now. If Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or a Democrat were there, they would look at it with a totally different set of lenses. But I can tell you that when we look at that, we prioritize troops and law enforcement, absolutely. So if there is a mechanism to do that, they will find it, and they will fund it. The reason, the way they were able to get the troops paid for this paycheck, and as I said, this is not an enduring solution because we will run out of the funds, but there were some unspent funds in effectively R&D accounts in defense. They moved that over to prioritize payment of those who are putting their lives on the line today and who have families in serious situations. That money will be replaced, as has been explained by the White House, after the funding gets going again. If we can find a similar mechanism to take care of Capitol Police, of course they'll do that, but that's in a separate branch, so different determination. Yes, sir.
Speaker, this is day 15 of the shutdown now, and Leader Scalise just kind of addressed this, that the 7-week bill that you guys passed before, you guys have already lost 2 weeks of that. Is there a point in the future where you decide to put either another clean continuing resolution on the floor, like in the next couple of weeks, or why not just put some of your appropriation bills that have passed out of committee on the floor during the shutdown?
Our appropriators have been hard at work, even during the shutdown. They had, remember in the House, we passed all 12 separate appropriations bills through committee, 3 off the floors. There's 9 left. They've been working to put those together and prepare them for action. And whether or not they're all collected here in D.C. or they're working individually at home as a group, you know, we have lots of means of communication right now. So the appropriators are working not just among colleagues in the chamber, but chamber to chamber. So it's a bipartisan discussion that's been going on. As I mentioned several days back, I even spoke myself with Patty Murray, who's the lead on appropriations in the Senate, Democrat side. So that work has been going on. With regard to the timeline of the CR, it would do us no good to pass yet another CR out of the House because it will meet the same fate. Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats want to close the government down. They are gleeful about this. They are happy that troops are suffering all this pain, apparently, because they've just voted now 9 times collectively. Democrats in Congress have voted 9 times to block the pay of troops and Capitol Police and all the federal employees and by extension all the civilian contractors and everybody else. So we would just be going through an exercise in political futility to pass another CR. It is ironic that the 7 weeks on the clean CR that we passed September 19th was a date that was determined by Republicans and Democrats in the House. The appropriators determined together that that should be the length of the CR, and they stipulated together that it should be clean. The Democrats at the time said, please don't put any Republican priorities on that so that we can all do this in good faith. And we didn't. We put a clean CR, and still they voted no. Why? Because their leadership, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, told them they had to. So I think appropriators want to get back to work. I know every House Republican does, but we've got to get the lights turned back on, and Chuck Schumer and the Democrats need to vote to do that so we can get back to regular legislative sessions. Yes, ma'am.
Last question. Thank you. Just to follow up, though. So the Senate is actually trying to advance some appropriations bills. Are you saying that if your appropriators get some bills ready for the floor, you'll bring them back, bring the chamber back, even if the CR isn't passed?
Leader Thune is trying to advance the defense approach bill today. We'll see how that turns out. My suspicion is the Democrats are going to play their same political games and stop that cold. I hope I'm surprised by that, but we'll see. We're on a 48-hour return notice for House Republicans and the House itself. Dependent upon action in the Senate, we can get all this moving again, and we can get back to all the regular order and all the things that are stacking up on our plates. It is ironic that even though Democrats decided upon the end date, the 7 weeks to go to November 21, it is the Democrat leadership that is eating up the clock. And they are doing great harm to the American people, not just by suspending services, vital services and paychecks, but also because of the backlog of work that the Congress has to get done. And we cannot do it while hardworking Americans are suffering because of these antics, and that's why we're demanding, insisting that they get it open. I'll leave you with this. You've heard the word contrast here a number of times today. I'm so grateful for these Main Street Caucus leaders who came in to help us articulate this contrast. I'll just say this again. You have two parties on a split screen right now. You have President Trump and the Republican Party reducing your taxes, cutting government red tape and regulations to get the economy going again, passing historic legislation to boost the economy and bring down the cost of living. You have Republicans who have ended the border crisis, almost zero illegal crossings in the last 4 months. You have Republicans who are working to end the crime crisis and support law enforcement and ICE officers and all those who are wearing that badge and putting their lives on the line and supporting our troops, as we talked about today. You have Republicans who are ending fraud, waste, and abuse in government and making government work more efficiently and effectively for the people. And you have President Trump and the White House and his administration ending conflicts that are killing millions of people around the world. What have Democrats accomplished in the last 9 months? A government shutdown. I mean, the contrast between these parties could not be any more stark. And I encourage you to watch. We call it the Hate America rally that will happen Saturday. Let's see who shows up for that. I bet you see pro-Hamas supporters. I bet you see antifa types. I bet you see the Marxists in full display, the people who don't want to stand and defend the foundational truths of this republic. And we do. And that's what we're here doing every single day. And we'll continue to come in every morning and tell the American people the plain and simple facts, because the facts are going to win the day here. The American people are not stupid. They see what's going on, and they know who's to blame. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you.
For more news and updates, all you need to do is follow CNBC TV 18 on all of our digital platforms.